Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving, this is not the key actually, because the car's key is inside, so I just removed a dummy key just to show you a key. Any which ways, this is the Datsun redi-GO Facelift, and straight away we're going to be opening the engine bay of this Chintu Mintu vehicle. I'll tell you why it's Chintu Mintu. First and foremost, yeah, there it is. There's the engine. You can see the vibrations. This is where washer fluid actually goes, and there is insulation on the top as well. But cab forward design, really Chintu engine bay of this Tata redi-GO. Oh, did I just say Tata redi-GO? Actually, it's the Datsun redi-GO. I'll tell you why I said Tata redi-GO in a bit. First and foremost, it gets a proper facelift, which means the face has been kind of lifted. The grille is bigger now. They have given it chrome here on both the sides, and this L-shaped DRL looks really fantastic on this car. In fact, it also gets LED fog lights, which again is a segment first. Meanwhile, this is obviously halogen, but you know what, lights do a decent job for this segment, of course. But cost cutting has been done with a single wiper, of course. There it is, a single wiper, but it doesn't foul with the hood like in the case with the Quid when you put the wiper up to wash the car or clean the car, and you get a single nozzle right there. Now this car is really Chintu. The length is 3435 mm, which is making it shorter than even the Maruti Alto. It is the shortest car on sale right now. I believe the Tata Nano was shorter at around 3 meters. This is just 3.4 meters. So yeah, but they package it quite well. Trust me on this. So there is decent amount of space on the inside. It says Datsun here on the side. They could have removed this and reduced the price of the car by around 150 rupees. Meanwhile, this might look like alloy wheels. It actually does not look like alloy wheels. But yeah, Renault's wheels do look like alloy wheels. This is of course a wheel cap. If I remove it, it's going to come out.
Every 60 seconds in Africa, a minute passes.
165/70, 14 is the size of the tire, upsized by 1 inch. That's the reason it has a better and planted stance right now. Doesn't get roof rails like the Quid, okay, and you can press a button to unlock the vehicle. So keyless entry is also there in this car, not the button type, okay. No roof rails, big antenna as well, and the window area seems big enough. Coming to the side of the car, and rather the rear of the car, things are a little similar, although I think this is sort of an LED treatment which is new, but this is actually the brake light of this vehicle. Says redi-GO right here, and you have to put the key to open this thing, or from the inside you can open it. Says 1 liter because this is a 1 liter model. Ground clearance is ample at I think around 187 mm, which is almost compact fake crossover SUV territory as well. Okay, you can see the stance from below. There is the exhaust of the car. Okay, here it is. It's vibrating. Can you see the vibrations? Faisal Khan's fingers of truth will not go near that vibrating exhaust because it's not safe, honestly. There is a fuel tank. I believe it's a Chintu Mintu 28 liter fuel tank. Okay, it's got parking sensors at the rear, 3 parking sensors. There's a camera which is nicely hidden right there. Yeah, nicely hidden below the Datsun logo, of course. And this is so freaking light. My goodness, this is light. But you know what's the problem? The loading lip is just too high. But the spare wheel is not an alloy, because the regular wheels are not an alloy. How will the spare wheel be the alloy? Come on guys, what are you guys talking? 165/70, 14 size of the tire, same as the other tires on this car. And this is a proper fold down, no 60/40, but here you go. There you can push it to increase the boot carrying capacity. I just slot it back into place. Now the good thing is they've actually done carpeting here to hide all the exposed metals, which was the case with the pre-facelift model, which is still the case with the Renault Quid. So yeah, I like the fact that Datsun has gone, you know, and put carpet there. Appreciated. At least that cost cutting bit vanishes to a certain extent. The door pockets at the rear are massive. Look at the size of the door pockets. Everything you have to keep in the rear only. You can't keep it at the front because the front door pockets are non-existent. Unlike the Quid, which gets rear power windows, at least as an option, this one does not. You have to manually roll down the windows like this. Meanwhile, like I was mentioning, this is the Tata redi-GO because the Tata Motor TriStar is here on the seats. Oh, come on. First it was Isuzu and now Datsun. Come on, stop copying Tata's TriStar. It's not going to make your car safer. Any which ways, in terms of safety, this car is definitely improved because of the new pedestrian norms and stuff like that. They've increased the weight and, you know, put a lot of improved the structural rigidity of this car. Meanwhile, there is so good amount of legroom and room. Look at that. For a car which is so Chintu Mintu, there is absolutely crazy amount of legroom and room. I know I've pushed it a little ahead. This is all the way behind it goes, and it's not very comfortable for me because I wanted the seat to go even further behind. I might remove this seat and sit on the rear bench to actually drive this car. Meanwhile, there's no storage space here in the center, but good amount of legroom and room. Under thigh support could be definitely better. Yeah, under thigh support could definitely better, and headroom is actually quite adequate. I'm quite surprised for someone as tall as me. Handle to hold on to on both the sides. There too, not for the driver, of course. And no height adjustable headrest. I mean, no adjustable headrest at the rear, no center headrest because the cabin is actually quite narrow, so 3 people cannot sit in here comfortably. You can access the boot from here, no parcel shelf. Meanwhile, they have a proper mechanism for the seat belt, like a regular seat belt, unlike the earlier case, which was like kind of weird. Anyways, coming to the dashboard of the car, that also has been revised. It looks quite smart now. New center console and a lot of parts coming from the Quid. And you know what I like about this car? They have packaged it beautifully well. For a car so chintu-mintu, there's actually decent amount of space on offer at the rear, and under thigh support nobody does properly. Meanwhile, there is some sort of a panel gap, so that could be worked on for sure. For a company like Nissan, well, you expect better. Anyways, front seats are decently comfortable. Again, the issue of under thigh support because the seat base is actually small, both at the front and the rear. Actually, it's short, so tall passengers are always going to face the brunt. Says redi-GO on the matting as well. Meanwhile, see, the door pockets are so small at the front, you can keep A4 size papers if you so wish. And power window controls are actually in the center. There's actually a storage space here, which is kind of surprising. It's going to fall whatever you use it. And this is for the headlight leveler. This is to open the hood of the vehicle. There's no dead pedal on offer, which is an ergonomic disaster. And this is to open the boot as well as the fuel tank. Like I was telling you, chintu-mintu fuel tank on this car. Let's get inside. Okay, this seat is pushed all the way behind here. It doesn't go any further. Let's push this seat behind. Where is the lever? There. Now you see there is a glove box, which is okay in terms of size, but there is another storage space. There were twin glove boxes in the pre-Faisal model, I believe. That has disappeared, thankfully, because that was very flimsy. I like the dashboard design. I like the treatment which has been done on the dashboard. The silver inserts look pretty awesome, and there the wipers are working. By mistake, I clicked the wipers as well. Hard plastics, of course, you're going to get a lot of hard plastics at this price point. But you know what? This car has some good features, like it has an internally adjustable rear view mirror, which is not the case with the Renault Kwid. It doesn't have this, and the problem is it doesn't really adjust all the way to the outside. So it's a little bit of an issue for me personally speaking, and you know, this is very flimsy. You can't even dim it. Forget auto dimming. This is not even manually dimming. Yeah, there is no function of manually dimming this mirror. The problem is the C pillar is actually quite thick, so you can't really see properly at the rear, and this obviously vibrates a lot and kind of changes the direction as well when you drive the car. There's a light placement on the top, obviously sun blinds as well. I think this is for the mic receiver. Meanwhile, this is for the hazard light. The air conditioning is an absolute chiller. I love the air conditioning on this car. There's storage space here. There's a 12 volt charging socket. There's a USB plug, and this is to lock and unlock the car. The center locking button. There is good amount of storage space here as well. These are the controls for the power windows, but unlike the Kwid, which has even more storage spaces, this is a little bit lacking on that front. Okay, the steering wheel is not at all adjustable. These are the controls for the headlights, and these are the controls for the sole wiper of this car. There we're going to use a spray, and actually the nozzle puts out 2 sprays. The wipers do a decent job, gets the job done for sure. The instrument cluster is actually having redi-GO written, which, yes, you guessed that right, actually illuminates when you turn on the lights. And there is a massive speedometer with a very optimistic 180 km/h marking telltale lights everywhere. There's a digital meter here which shows you the tachometer of the vehicle along with an odometer and some useful information, like obviously there's a trip meter, what is the average fuel efficiency. It's saying 13.6 km/L right now, real time as well as distance to empty. So yeah, that is kind of handy, and there's the fuel meter here as well. Now we're just going to remove this from the 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which comes from the Kwid. Okay, it's actually a nice unit. It's very slick because it doesn't have anything much to operate as such. Here you see it gets Apple CarPlay, it gets Android Auto connectivity. Let's listen to an audio right away. Audio quality is decent. The problem is that the car gets so loud at higher revs and there are vibration that you can't really hear the audio, and then obviously there's a lot of wind noise and tire noise and all that also creeping inside the cabin. Horn placement has been done very smartly, so you can just press like this. The horn is not nice, but the placement is very good. It gets a single airbag, and there's another airbag there actually. So this is again reserved for the top variants as such. Let's quickly get into reverse so that I can show you the reverse parking camera. You have to lift it and slot it ahead, which will be a little difficult for new or first time car drivers. And there is the reverse parking camera. It's decent in terms of quality, could have been better, but gets the job done. So overall aesthetic appeal both on the outside as well as on the inside is actually improved dramatically on this Datsun redi-GO. But how is it to drive? Let's start driving right away. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning on the car, and there it definitely rose to life. Air conditioning off, into first gear, handbrake down, revving the motor, revs all the way, and some amount of wheel spin, and off we go first gear 40. Now you're going to take a U-turn, and there where I realized that the problem is, although the steering is light, the steering doesn't self-center, so you have to actually work that a bit. Okay, now this car is producing 68 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, somewhere around that. 91 Newton meters of torque, around 4,250 RPM, somewhere around that. Okay, around the corners there is a lot of body roll, but still kind of feels less than the Renault Kwid somehow. Meanwhile, the horn is actually quite decent. Getting on the throttle, I realized that the low end punch is kind of lacking, and that's why we're driving in sort of a city simulation right now, wherein, you know, it could do with a lot better throttle response right off the bat. Okay, it becomes very vocal once you get past 4,000 RPM, so it's kind of pointless taking it there. Around the corners, I'm quite surprised it handles decently well. Yeah, there is a lot of body roll, but when compared to the Kwid, there is slightly lesser body roll for sure, because the suspension is on the stiffer side. Now, this is the 1-liter engine whose power output and torque output I just now mentioned. Onto the throttle, it will take some time. Get into the mid-range around 2000 RPM, it pulls nicely. So nice mid-range, poor bottom end, no top end as such. Actually, the top end is so loud you can't really realize if the car is moving or not. Brakes have a sharp initial bite. Like, get on the brakes and they bite very quickly, so you have to get used to that, but that's not a problem because good braking performance is always a great thing, right? Meanwhile, as soon as I get hard on the throttle, I realized that it's better to shift up early and not get into the high end of the rev range, because first, it's a 3-cylinder motor, so there are some vibrations which you can feel even at idle. There's this constant moving which is happening, and then those vibrations can be felt on the pedals, on the steering wheel, on the gear lever as well. And talking about the gear lever, gears are not very smooth shifting because there's some notchiness. Thankfully, the clutch is on the lighter side, and the 1-liter engine which you're driving, slightly less fuel efficient, but definitely worth it because you get 14 extra horsepower. The 800cc motor is actually producing 54 horsepower, but there are 4 variants of the 800cc alone, and for this particular variant which you're driving, which is a 1-liter, there are 2 variants. One is for the automatic. There's actually only one automatic, and this is the manual. Listen to the vocalness of this engine, really very loud, but then you would not be driving it near the red line. It red line slightly under 6,000 RPM. The tachometer is not really visible. It's very chinto minto, just like the car. That said, you know, you don't have to drive in higher gear all the time, because then that weak bottom end is a slight issue. Crazy wheel spin, not because the car has a lot of punch, it's because it's kind of under tired, of course. Now, the top end variant costs 5.85 lakh rupees. This particular variant which you're driving costs 5.61 lakh rupees, and the range actually starts from 4.56 lakh rupees. All the prices are on road Mumbai, of course, and the trims D, A, T and T option as well. And the T option is a top variant which is available with an automatic. Like I told you, the automatic is available in the top trim. The top trim is actually the one which is decently equipped, and you see the ride is on the stiffer side, because I told you the suspension is slightly on the stiffer side. The ride can get a little uncomfortable, especially on bad roads. You can feel that stiffness. Even on good roads, that stiffness can be felt a bit, because the car is light, so it gets bouncy, and then that stiffness ka kickback effect comes to you for sure. Meanwhile, you pay 24,000 extra for the automatic. You pay 24,000 extra for the 1-liter over the 800cc model as well. So those 24,000 spent for the automatic, completely worth it, because those people who are looking for convenience would definitely appreciate how good the automatic is in terms of ease of driving, because this gearbox is not the smoothest shifting as such. Come on, cars self-center. That lack of self-centering now is a bit of an issue in the Datsun redi-GO for sure, and that issue is also there in the Kwid. High-speed stability kind of feels better than the Kwid. The Kwid is actually very softly sprung. This has that stiff suspension, which I don't know why it is being done, but definitely aids in better driving dynamics. However, the ride quality, not so much. Although I would say the ride is decent enough, gets the job done. The ride on the Kwid feels slightly better, but again, because these are small cars with small wheels and light bodies, they kind of move around way too much. Okay, the steering, although obnoxiously light at low speed, doesn't self-center either. Kind of feels better at higher speeds. Okay, it doesn't feel completely lifeless. I mean, it is lifeless, but still at least little bit of weight is there in the steering wheel, which also helps its cause. So overall, I would say Datsun has done a great job in improving the redi-GO with the facelifted model. Obviously, for the price, this seems very attractively priced. Rather, what am I saying? This is a very attractively priced car. Compared to its competition, it is kind of the cheapest, and still it's not selling as much as it should. Now, in the city, you will not complain about anything, because you're not the person who's going to take first gear 45 kilometers per hour, which is the capability of this car. In second gear, it will reach near about 80 kilometers per hour. So yes, the gearing is definitely on the taller side with the redi-GO. The problem, or rather the bigger problem here, is that Nissan's reach is not as good as Renault's in terms of sales and service outlets, and this is because of the blunder caused by someone in Nissan when they actually actually outsourced or franchised out the complete dealership network to someone known as Hoover Automotive. The result was they didn't even care a jack shit about the Nissan sales and service, and Nissan had no control over it. And the end result was that dealerships were very unhappy with the way things were progressing, and finally they had to break the tire. But you know what? They wasted a lot of time going through that rigmarole. That said, I honestly feel, they need to refine the motor more, and that will also benefit the Kwid as well as this car. Maybe put a turbo in this. Obviously a turbo is not going to work in this because the body parts will come out flying. Things are so light in here, but good for mileage. Claim mileage 21.7 kilometers per liter. In the real world you should expect somewhere between, I think you should return somewhere between 16 to 20 kilometers per liter, which is very amazing for a petrol car with petrol above 100 rupees per liter. And this has a fuel tank capacity which is really chintu-mintu at 28 liters. Yeah, my water bottle has a bigger tank capacity, but my bottle is not a tank, it's a water bottle, Faisal. Now someone is playing music, I can hear it on the inside because like I told you, insulation is not great. That's kind of my horn right now. Every time I get into the accelerator pedal, everyone is like, what's happening? They get a little alert around me for sure. Second gear just under 80, and in third it's going to cross 100 km per hour for sure. It will hit a top speed around 140 km per hour without any issue. The engine actually is good enough to get the job done, but because of the lightweight of the car, that's a slight issue. But come around the corner, be enthusiastic, and yeah, it rolls quite a bit. And on that disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as a like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Kind of wavers around, but hey, this is a small car, and for a small car it's fantastic. Bye bye.